John, what movie would you remake but in space?
Call Me By Your Name.
Oh, right, okay. How would that work?
Just the same story, but in a space villa,
Space villa?
Yeah, just like rich people in space. Maybe there's some like zero gravity peach fucking.
Oh, that sounds even more disgusting
I
now.
know, you can imagine it be
floating about.
away.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, why did you have to go there, John?
Sorry, I've made my choice. That's what's happening.
All right, okay, whatever. On with the show.
Some films are fine just the way they are. Other films sometimes take it way too far. Really, how bad could it get? Let's go beyond the box set.
Welcome everybody to Beyond the Box Set, the podcast where we pitch prequels, sequels and spin-offs to films that don't have any. I'm Harry, and joining me as always is John.
Hello.
And we're joined by a very, very special and well-qualified guest. Finally a well-qualified one.
Not these amateurs we had in before.
Please welcome Dr. James Mason.
Hello.
Tell us, what are you a doctor of?
I'm a doctor of Disney, apparently.
And how does that work?
Well, I studied a PhD for 3 years, and the subject of my PhD was Disney films, and specifically their audiences. So I didn't get into the technicalities of Disney films and how they're made or anything. I was interested in why adults watch Disney films, and so at the end of that, I can call myself a doctor of Disney.
Cool. It's a good bit of branding. And you actually have your PhD sat in front of you. Which
Yes,
is,
I do, in case I need to consult it.
Just in case we don't believe you.
Yeah,
We're
we're going to get into some very deep kind of theory-based stuff here. So yeah,
clearly haven't read my
be
PhD.
prepared,
Are there many Easter eggs in it?
No.
You missed a trick.
Now, we couldn't invite a doctor of Disney to this podcast and not ask him to bring a Disney film. Mm-hmm. So what Disney film have you chosen for us today, James?
I have chosen Treasure Planet from 2002.
Okay.
Part of my thing about Disney is to try and bang the drum that Disney's not just about animation, because only 25% of Disney's output is animated, but I've chosen an animated film. I thought I'd challenge myself to find a Disney animated classic that doesn't have a sequel, and there's not that many of them. And I also wanted to champion a film that I quite enjoy. It's not my favourite Disney film. My favourite Disney film has a sequel already, but I thought this would be a good
Quick question,
choice.
what was your favourite Disney film?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. It's The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And there is that very, very poor sequel that went straight to DVD called The Hunchback of Notre Dame 2.
Whoa, what a name.
Inventive,
What
I
a
know,
name.
I know.
Can I ask, are there any good Disney sequels?
Yes.
Because I can name millions of bad ones.
Okay. If we're just talking animated, I did watch all of the direct-to-video and direct-to-cinema sequels recently. And yeah, there are some interesting ones. I quite like Bambi 2. I quite liked The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Beginning, which is basically, having just watched Footloose at the weekend, is basically Footloose, but under the water.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
See, The Little Mermaid is my second favourite movie of all time. Not just animated, just of all films. And I've never watched any of the sequels.
Well, I wouldn't bother with Little Mermaid 2, Return to the Sea.
Sure.
'Cause that's just the same film, but kind of in reverse. And
Yeah.
that's Ariel's daughter wants to go under the sea. Yeah.
Is there a song by any chance?
There's a few songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not great. But then the third one, the animation's better. It's a prequel to The Little Mermaid, where Triton's wife, whose name I can't remember, has died, and so he bans music and bans dancing, like the film Footloose. And like the film Footloose, one of the main characters is called Ariel. So,
okay.
Yeah. Didn't realise quite how much they'd ripped it off till I saw Footloose.
Wow, that's good.
Walt Disney Pictures presents The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Beginning. Discover the story you never knew.
There's more to this place than meets the eye.
How one daring mermaid transformed an entire kingdom.
Come on, Sebastian, let's go.
That girl is working on my last claw.
When a friendship was formed.
My name is Flounder. Woohoo!
And how music came alive.
So, Treasure Planet then, aside from the fact that it is a rare Disney film without a sequel, what is it that you enjoy about this film or why you wanted to talk about it today?
It's not in my top. I don't know. It's probably not in my top 5 Disney films, but I find something to enjoy in most of them, apart from Home on the Range. It's just something a bit different, I think, to normal Disney films, in that it's about a young man. There's no love story involved, at least not for the central character, for Jim. It deals with his issues with his father, so there's a bit more of an interesting sort of something maybe a little bit more in an adult vein, maybe.
I did feel like watching it how the tone, it looked Disney, but I felt like the tone wasn't quite Disney to me. Like it did seem like it was telling a different story to what you come to expect from a Disney film and presenting it in a slightly different way.
Yeah, it really felt much more modern, I felt. The other ones felt a bit more as though they were all fairy tales, and this one just really didn't feel that way. It didn't really make me think, oh, this is a Disney film. It didn't feel like what I think of as a Disney film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think of as a Disney film?
I don't know, just more child-orientated a bit,
Yeah.
I think. Even though this film did have parts which were really annoying.
Yeah, we'll get to them. I have a few issues with this film, definitely,
Yeah,
which I'm sure you do as well. Yeah, and I think for me it was the lack of songs was a big part of it.
Okay. Not a fan of I'm Still Here.
Oh boy, did I hate that song.
Yeah, see, I got to that bit, and it's the scene before, and I was thinking, you know what this film's missing? It's a musical number. Wait, is this scene building to... It is. Oh, the music's kicked in. Oh, great. And then it goes downhill so fast.
Can the world war made a change? They're the ones that stay the same. They don't know me, but I'm still here.
It's not in the top pantheon of Disney films.
No.
so
Well,
it's-
it really felt for me like, again, just like not a Disney song, because for me
Yeah.
a Disney song it's diegetic. The character is singing it usually, and it's usually, I think of Disney songs as being that very kind of what's the songwriter who wrote most of them, like the
you're thinking of Alan Menken,
Alan
Howard
Menken.
Ashman.
Yeah, it's that kind of
those two.
very musical theatre kind of vibe where it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's a storytelling song and it's very kind of melodic. And yeah, in this film, rather than any character singing anything, it's sung by the guy from the Goo Goo Dolls. And it's very kind of American album-oriented rock, turn of the century, Nickelback kind of style.
Yeah.
Which for me, like in its genre, I'm sure it's fine. For me, is not what I want in a Disney film. I didn't
Okay.
want to hear that in a Disney film, and it just immediately took me out of the film a little bit, to be honest. And that might just be me like applying my stereotypes of what I want Disney to be, and I won't allow anything else. But that was the point when it really niggled on me. Like, this is not what I want from a Disney film. I don't want to hear some cock rock
Right.
maulings on a Disney film. It really bugged me. Like it angered me more than I
Yes,
think
I can
it's
say.
deserved. Yeah.
So did that piss all over the father-son relationship that was building?
Well, okay, I have to also admit a slight bias with this film that also coloured my viewing of it, which is that Muppet Treasure Island is also a Disney film.
Uh-huh.
Also one of my very favourite films of all time. And
Okay.
for me, a childhood classic, because this film came out in 2002, I think.
Yeah.
Whereas Muppet Treasure Island, correct me if I'm wrong, about 95, 96?
96, I think.
Yeah, so that came out, I was 10 years old. So that came out slap bang at the time when I would have enjoyed it. And it's a real nostalgic classic for me. I think it's a great retelling of the story.
Yeah.
I would argue, and we can get into this, I would argue a better, more creative retelling of Treasure Island
Okay.
in some ways than this. Even though it follows the original plot more, you know, it's not in space.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the original film, but with Muppets. But I felt like they did more with it than this film did, in a weird way.
Yes.
And so watching this, I couldn't help but compare it against that. And in a lot of ways, it just fell a bit short for me just because it wasn't that film. And I would say with the father-son relationship specifically, because that's such a key part of the Treasure Island story. The Long John Silver character in this film, he was good. He was very good. But he wasn't Tim Curry.
Yes.
And there were some really emotional scenes in Muppet Treasure Island for me when they really dig into that. Like, you really feel that sense of him as a conflicted character. And there's some scenes between Tim Curry and young Kevin Bishop, which would really get you choked up because they really go in for the emotion, whereas this film doesn't quite go there. I felt like it didn't do that thing that a lot of child-oriented films do for me, modern and classic, where like they really get you in the guts and in the feels and you find yourself like wiping a tear away. This never quite emotionally moved me. I could appreciate it and what it was trying to do, but it just didn't quite, I don't know, for me anyway, it didn't quite move me.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I wasn't as moved as, say, like a Coco
Oh god, yeah.
or an Up or a... Yeah. There wasn't that kind of a weeping. And also, I guess if you're comparing it with Muppet Treasure Island, you didn't have the songs that you have in Muppet Treasure
Well,
Island,
exactly,
which
yeah.
are fantastic.
Yeah, that's one of the, so many great songs in that film. So,
Yes, yeah.
Fever with flipping our bandanas. Been stuck at sea so long that we have simply gone bananas.
I really didn't like some of the supporting characters, particularly what's his name?
Ben Gunn.
The sort of dog guy.
A Morph.
The psychic through most of the film. He was at the B&B at the start.
Oh, Doppler.
Doppler.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dr. Doppler.
He was possibly my favourite supporting character.
Really annoying.
Oh, I liked him.
He had the best line, which was, and I've written it down, I mean, I'm a doctor, but I'm not that kind of a doctor. I have a doctorate. It's not the same thing. You can't help people with a doctorate. You just sit there and you're useless. Which spoke to me on many levels. Since I
Why, just being a Doctor of Disney not come in handy?
No.
You
I
get
can't
good podcast gigs.
Yeah, I do.
But I mean,
do,
if someone keels over on a train and someone's like, "Is there a doctor on the carriage?" You know.
Yeah. I
true.
can't prescribe 10 milligrams of Bambi.
Doctor, you have wonderful eyes.
She's lost her mind!
But you gotta help her.
Dang it, Jim, I'm an astronomer, not a doctor. I mean, I am a doctor, but I'm not that kind of doctor. I have a doctorate. It's not the same thing. You can't help people with a doctorate. You just sit there and you're useless.
So, what about him did you find particularly annoying? Just
Well, initially that scene where he just starts speaking flatula or something to one of the characters who's just farting everywhere. It's like, oh god, this is a kids' movie, isn't it? This is absolutely a kids' movie. If it wasn't for that, I'd have had a great time with this film. But that just really got to me on some level. Just like, oh, this is just awful.
any kind of fart joke in Harry is just out.
I'm there for fart jokes, but this was just...
Okay.
So I thought it did quite a good job compared to some Disney films of not having too cutesy a psychic character to pull you out. My problem with a film like Pocahontas is it's got a serious plot to it, but then you've got these 3 comedy characters, animal characters that just totally fit in a different film and take you out of it. And yeah, I didn't see that so much in this. Maybe in the character of Morph a little bit at times.
Yeah, Morph was like... what struck me about Morph, he's like the... Well, first of all, he looks like an off-brand Pokemon. He's basically Ditto from Pokemon, because he's like a little orange blob or pink blob that shapeshifts into anything.
Yeah.
I found him quite charming, actually, in places. I liked the visual inventiveness that was drawn out of him being able to turn into anything. Like, I really like the scene when Jim is chasing him, and then they have like a whack-a-mole moment where he just turns into a lot of tiny little Jims.
That character was the most Disney character that there was in this.
Totally. And if this film had been a success, because this film was famously a huge financial failure, and if this film had succeeded enough to warrant more of it, that character would have been like the Stitch or the squirrel from Ice Age. And no, that's not Disney. But that would have been the character that would have been in all the marketing that would have been really like bled dry, because it was such a classic Disney kind of sidekick.
He was very Genie from Aladdin in that he could just turn into anything he served any purpose.
Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting, because I actually felt like some sidekicks would have, maybe not uber cutesy, but like I felt like Jim as a character needed some sidekicks from the start, or some friends, because I found him to be quite a dour hero, and that was another reason I couldn't quite love the film as much as I wanted to.
It wasn't a ponytail.
It wasn't a ponytail. Well, he didn't have Gonzo and Rizzo. Yeah, exactly. Like, but like, just because he's our central character, and for the first half of the film, he's kind of on his own. He's this kind of lonely teenage. And I think from the father-son perspective, I think that rings very true, because he feels very isolated. And if he had like really good friends, then it might have like undermined that storyline a little bit. But yeah, it just meant that as a lead, he didn't really have much to bounce off. So he's quite, for me, the word I would use is dour. Like I didn't find him terribly charming in the way that I find, say, Ariel charming or
Aladdin.
Aladdin, perfect. Yeah, Ariel or Aladdin or Simba. The classic ones. They all have people to bounce off, so that they're not just walking miseries. Simba has a horrible situation happen to him, but then Timon and Pumbaa raise him up and keep the mood pretty light. And I think this film made a conscious choice to not do that, and that's a noble experiment, whether it works or not. I think if it failed, it didn't fail for lack of trying or lack of imagination. It definitely wanted to achieve something, and whether or not that worked is up for debate. So, yeah. Do
you think it would have succeeded more if it was released now, and where Disney is now? Because I feel like maybe it was just released at the wrong time. I mean, it was written by Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, who went on to write 1,001 Pirates of the Caribbean films.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say 1,001 Dalmatians.
No, we've not got to
another disappointing sequel.
Yeah. 102 Dalmatians, that's a good film.
Oh, okay.
101 Dalmatians 2. There are 2 different films. Yeah, because they went on to write Pirates of the Caribbean after this, and they were obviously really popular, although I can't quite get my head around them, because I quite liked the first one, and then I didn't get past the second one. Yeah. And that's me as a doctor of Disney. Yeah, I just wonder if nowadays it would have hit better, now that Disney is hitting that, let's be stereotypical teenage boy audience that they seem to be going for with this, that they always seem to be trying hard to hit with films like John Carter. I know it's not animated, but another sort of massive sci-fi flop for Disney. And Mars Needs Moms, which was one that I haven't even seen, which is another sort of a motion capture thing by Robert Zemeckis that flopped hard. Another one that seemed to be aiming for the sci-fi teenage boy market.
It's interesting to me that, Disney, again, if you're thinking of the animated ones, the Disney films that succeed are generally a little bit more in that classic storytelling mode. And this did strike me as very much kind of a boys' film, right through from that the way the music was, rather than being musical theatre, it was this kind of, angst rock kind of vibe, this soft rock music. And like you said, the lack of singing and the lack of funny sidekicks, and there's no romance story in there. So, and it's interesting that, as you say, there's so many examples of that failing, and it's interesting that they can't seem to get that right, or maybe that audience, is it there? Is it not there? Are they all just watching Marvel films now? But
Well, Disney bought Star Wars, and that was the end of that.
yeah.
They don't need to do their own. Yeah. I also think it's interesting that one of the faults, I think, of the film, is, I'm probably going to talk about some faults, is I think there are 2 named female characters in this film.
Yeah.
And we know that, it's well documented that Disney films are not great in there. They might have a woman in the lead, but how many lines of dialogue does she get?
Sure.
Often not that many. You've got Jim's mum, and then the other character, at least the other female character, is the captain of the ship. So she's in a position of power, but then she has to have some sort of a relationship with Doppler.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I did not really feel at all.
no.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as she showed up, I was like, first of all, as you said, it's a female captain, like, great, good choice, like it. And then it's Emma Thompson, it's like, fantastic, love it. And her first 2 scenes, she's great because she's doing, it almost felt like it was Emma Thompson ad-libbing because she was so, they were writing to Emma Thompson's voice because she was using a lot of really, her big high score Scrabble words and just being very like sarcastic and quippy, and it was great, and she was a really instantly my favourite character. But then she gets totally sidelined.
Yeah.
And then as the film progresses, she gets injured early on, and then she just doesn't really have anything to do in the back end of the film apart from rely on this male character, who also being voiced by David Hyde Pierce. That romance element had an element of comedy for me. It's a bit like barking up the wrong tree. It's like watching old Frasier now and like going, oh bless, we were really invested in this once. How little we knew.
It was an interesting voice cast, I think, because you had Niles from Frasier. Yeah, you had, is it Tommy from Third Rock from the Sun?
Yeah, it was very like sitcom, pulled from the 90s sitcoms.
Who was the other one? Laurie Metcalf. Jackie
from Roseanne,
yeah. And then, Martin Short was... I quite liked him as Ben.
Oh, he was my least favourite character.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second least from me.
Yeah.
I can see that. But maybe the fact that Silver, I don't even know the name of the actor who played Long John Silver. He's not a name.
Yeah.
Maybe that had some lack of impact on that character.
Maybe.
Because he wasn't Tim Curry and, bringing the subtlety of Tim Curry to the part.
True, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I guess, although I'm actually quite a fan when animated movies don't rely on star names, because I often find them quite distracting. Like, as much as I loved hearing Emma Thompson's voice in this film or in any film, by the same token, like, as soon as you hear Emma Thompson, you're like, that's Emma Thompson. So I actually, some of my favourite Disney characters, because a lot of the 80s and 90s ones didn't use star names particularly, like Jodie Benson, who played Ariel, is a voice actress. She's not a celebrity. Pat Carroll, who did Ursula, one of the great voice performances of all time, but she's probably known for that. So I'm not outwardly biased towards celebrity names, and I thought like the guy who did the voice of Long John Silver was fine. I think it was just more like Tim Curry is a high bar to jump over,
Has that ever been said before?
Probably not in that way of phrasing it, but
No, maybe you need to do Congo.
Off with you, lad, and watch the launch. There'll be plenty work awaiting for you afterwards. We best be keeping a sharp eye on this one, eh, Morph? We wouldn't want him straying into things he shouldn't.
You know how they could have fixed Emma Thompson's character for me? Well, not fixed. I wish they'd done more about her being a cat.
All right.
Like,
I do think that a lot of the characters who were animals or whatever they really did need some more jokes just along all of them.
Yeah.
Especially that other guy, what was his name again? I keep forgetting. Doppler, yeah. Did he have any dog jokes?
I don't think so.
Because why not? It would be great.
Yeah.
Because then Emma Thompson's character, the first thing that happens when she sort of swings into scene along some ropes or something, you hear a cat screaming meow.
Yeah.
Which never happens again or anything.
No.
Not that that was a joke or anything, but like they lent into the cat element of her character very, very little bit at the start and then dropped it.
Yeah, I wanted her to be like land when they fall. I wanted every time she fell from something, she'd land on all feet. You know, I wanted some 9 Lives jokes. I wanted a cat falling in love with a dog. I wanted that to be a joke. You know, but they never really went there with it. Like, I know it's kind of low hanging fruit, but it's fun. It's fun. Yeah,
It's always fun.
Yeah, I just wanted some nice quirky little jokes about that because she just didn't get enough to do.
If you want cheap jokes like that, what's your DreamWorks film?
Okay.
Oh.
You know what I wanted? Modern cultural references.
Oh yeah, they date really well.
Yes, exactly.
I think I quite liked about Jim was that it's the common thing that everyone in a Disney animated film is an orphan. I quite like that in this one his dad had actually just left.
Yeah.
I hadn't realised that. I'd forgotten about that until I rewatched it again. That was a thing that happened, and that felt quite a modern take on Disney.
Yeah. And they did do that well, and that kind of I think they did set up the father-son kind of vibe between Long John Silver and Jim very nicely, and the journey that Long John Silver goes on between like his desire for money and the treasure, and yet his being conflicted about the fact that he actually does care for Jim and he can't bring himself to actually do him any harm, and the multiple times he has the opportunity to kill him and he just can't do it. I think they did do that really well. It was very nice.
One thing that confused me, did the captain and the first mate, did they not realise that they were commanding a ship of pirates? Very, very obvious pirates.
See, again, I'll say they make that joke much more explicit in Muppet Treasure Island.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The captain in that is played by Kermit the Frog. Played by Kermit the Frog, who was a real actor. And he's going through this list of ridiculous piracy names, like Old Tom, Very Old Tom, Dead Tom, Ugly Bug-Faced Baby-Eating O'Brien, Murderous Pete, Spiky Joe, and just all these ridiculously villainous sounding names, and then it cuts to him like, these are the worst people I've ever set foot on. Who hide these people? And there's a joke that it's Fozzie Bear his thumb hide them. So,
Mr. Bumble.
it's funny, Mr. Bumble. It's Mr. Bimble. Yeah, it's funnier in context.
Sure, great. Well, I can't wait to watch it with you then.
Roll call. Long John Silver. Aye, aye, sir. Short Stack Stevens.
Aye.
One-Eyed Jack. Aye. Black-Eyed Pea.
Here.
Wall-Eyed Pike.
Aye.
Polly Lobster. Mad Monty.
Aye.
Sweetums. Aye. Old Tom.
Aye, aye.
Real Old Tom.
Aye.
Dead Tom.
Aye, aye.
So we haven't really talked yet about the character of Ben Gunn, who in this film is a robot.
Who's just Ben, B-E-N, which
B-E-N,
stands
yeah.
for something.
Yeah.
I feel like he's really underused. Like, as soon as he came in, he looked like he was the character that we're all supposed to fall in love with, and he's supposed to be the character on the cover of the film or something, but then he's just there for only a little bit.
Yeah.
And he's quirky for a bit, and then he gets his brain back or whatever, and then he's still quirky.
Yeah, because if you compare
And then
it
that's
to
it done.
Yeah, if you compare it to like Timon and Pumbaa, who come into the Lion King relatively late on, but they make such a big impact.
Yeah, they steal the movie. Like
yeah.
the second half of the movie, it's so much about them.
Yeah.
But not plot wise. They're always just ancillary characters, but they dominate the movie in the sense that they're so memorable and fun.
So much they got their own film.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Ben serves he's a plot point, isn't he?
I was
really?
going to say, he felt like he was purely there to
get you
serve.
from here to here.
Yeah, he was to get you from A to B. I really viscerally disliked him. He felt like a very Jar Jar Binksy kind of.
He did, didn't he?
It was really so full on, and it was like it's the kind of character that I find really hard to watch, where they're just constantly fucking up the plot.
Yeah,
it's like because they're just running around causing chaos and being loud and attracting attention. It's stressful to watch. It's like, I just can't with this.
Yeah.
So I found him hard work. But,
I had the exact same thought. Just like, is this guy Jar Jar Binks?
Yeah.
So much so that I thought, are they voiced by the same person? They're not.
No, that was the actor Martin Short, who's a comedian, who was definitely doing a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Oh, this is fantastic! A carbon-based life form come to rescue me at last! I just want to hug you and squeeze you and hold you close to me. All right. Oh. Just let go of me? Oh, sorry. It's just... I've been marooned for so long. I mean, solitude's fun. Don't get me wrong. For heaven's sakes, after 100 years, you got a little nuts!
I've probably been overly harsh. I actually did enjoy this film, but I do tend to nitpick because I think it's you can't come to a podcast and just be like, oh, that's nice, that's nice, that's nice. You have to think about the pros and cons. But I can definitely see how if you were somebody who was a teenage boy who maybe had an absent father figure, etc., when watching this film, it probably would really move you. And I hope that even though the film was a financial failure, I hope it's found its audience.
There's a lot of love out there for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw some of the comments when you said on social media that this was going to be a film. There's a lot of people really excited for this film.
I think this is one that, even though it wasn't a huge money spinner, it's not as iconic as Lion King, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, etc. People who like it really like it, and that's often the mark of a good film in many ways.
Yeah.
I mean, just very quickly, because we haven't really touched on the fact that this was a huge failure. Like, it cost over 100 million to produce, and then it made like 30 million in America and then 100 million worldwide, but it didn't even break even. Why do you think it failed? Because it didn't get bad reviews. That's it was warmly received by critics, but the audiences just didn't set out for it.
It came out the same year as Lilo and Stitch, which got 3 sequels, TV series, a Japanese anime series, and just exploded. So maybe it paled in comparison to that. Sure. I think Lilo and Stitch came first. So maybe there was a residual effect from that. Maybe it was the fact that Disney is seen as being quite a feminine medium and not making films for boys. Because I'm not saying this is a film for boys, but it feels more of a film for boys than what Disney usually does.
Sure.
And so maybe there are just issues there in trying to... I don't know how well it was promoted compared to other films, whether there are any issues in terms of... I've not really looked into it. I thought maybe I'll read up on it before the podcast, and I thought, nah, people can go out and find that out for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Do your own work, listeners.
Yeah. I'm here to give my opinions. But yeah, maybe it just hit at the wrong time. I do think that if it had been released now, then it might have done better, just in the current climate. Yeah,
the only things I can think of is 2 things. One, that I remember when it came out in 2002, I don't remember seeing a lot about it. Like you said, Lilo and Stitch was everywhere. It was merchandised. I've never actually sat down and watched that film because it's one I've not gone back, because 2002 I was maybe 16, I think, 15, 16. So I was past the point where I would like rush to see the latest Disney film. And now that I'm back, now that I've come back around, I'm not. That wasn't to be judgmental. Like,
I was 18 and saw that in the cinema, John.
All right, fine. For me, like, I've come back around to Disney films, but that was at a point when I didn't see it in the cinema for whatever reason. But I feel like I know the film anyway, because that character Stitch was everywhere. Like, there was so much merchandising around him, and so maybe this film didn't have that kind of hook of that kind of easily merchandisable character that I guess would have been Ditto. Not Ditto, that's the Pokemon. Would have been Morph. But for whatever reason that didn't take or wasn't pushed in that way. And watching the trailer, I watched the trailer for the film, the original theatrical trailer before this show, and it didn't make it look terribly interesting.
Right.
I think maybe it just, because it doesn't have the songs, I guess. It didn't have any outside materials, like a hit single that would be played on the radio or that you'd see on MTV. And it didn't have, apart from the fact that it was Treasure Island in space, it didn't really have a particular hook to grab people into it. So I think maybe that might have been why it was just a bit of a tough sell. They never quite figured out how to market it. So yeah. Because when I look at it now, even though I've established some issues I have with it, if I watch like 5 Disney films of the period, 4 that made hundreds of millions, and this one that didn't, I don't think I could point to this and say, well, this is clearly the inferior product here. It's not demonstrably worse than most Disney films at all. I think it definitely stands. But for whatever reason, it just didn't take. So I do think the marketing must be a big part of it.
Especially in 2 years later, Disney produced Home on the Range, which was a boring disappointment.
I've got a feeling that is one you have very strong opinions on.
That's one I have opinions on. Yes, yeah. How do you make a film that is about 3 cows on an adventure, voiced by Roseanne, Judi Dench, and Jennifer Tilly? How do you make that boring?
Yeah.
That takes a special level of something.
Did that have diegetic songs?
Yes, I think it had both. Because it was a very country-oriented soundtrack.
Does Roseanne sing at any point?
I can't remember. Maybe I've blacked it out.
Yeah, because the only thing I know about Roseanne, her musical talents or lack thereof, is that back at the height of her fame as a sitcom star, she sang the American National Anthem at one of the... Have you ever seen that footage?
No.
Oh, it's good. Okay. And by good, I mean it's bad.
Okay.
And that is a perfect moment to seek into drinking games. So Harry, what have you got?
Cool. I've only just got 2 this week. James, you got some drinking games for
I haven't,
Treasure
I'm
Planet?
afraid.
No, that's okay.
No.
Well, have any come to mind?
So first of all, drink whenever you see an alien with more or less than 2 eyes.
Yeah, I did like the alien design. Like I did like
They
the
were
creature
great,
design.
weren't they?
Yeah, there were some really good ones. I loved the one that was like, it looked like it was one person, then it was 2 because the head was its own thing and the legs.
Easily the best one.
Totally,
Yeah.
that was.
But it really reminded me of Futurama,
Yes,
I thought, because the aliens were just so creative.
I agree. Yeah, it definitely had a Futurama vibe. In fact, one of the slugs really looked like one of the characters.
Yeah,
in
it did.
Futurama. Yeah.
I really like the farting alien.
I did too. I thought it was a good joke.
No.
I like the fact that they called the language flatula.
Yeah,
I thought
I'm
that
fluent
was-
in flatulence.
I enjoyed that bit. Okay.
Yeah,
But
not the farting.
no,
No.
Fair enough.
it's not proper.
Was Flatula a bad guy in the end then?
I think so, actually.
I
Yeah.
think he was one of that crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is this? Sorry about that. I didn't mean...
Allow me to handle this. I'm fluent in flatula, Jim. Took 2 years of it in high school.
Okay, so my first one is somewhat related. It is drink every time a supporting character is abruptly killed off. Like, I mean, a lot of Disney films have death in them, but this one really struck me as like, wow, a lot of side characters are dying.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, like you got Lobster Guy he floats out to space.
Yeah.
Presumably dies. A bunch of them fall into the molten lava at one point, which is a horrifying way to go when they're in the treasure. When they find the
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well,
the
everybody
treasure.
apart from John Silver.
Basically, yeah. Well, there's some survive, the ones that back on the boat because they end up like tied up. But yeah, there's definitely a couple that fall into molten lava quite abruptly. And I'm sure someone else dies. Well, Mr. Arrow dies.
Whereas
Whereas
does not get to come back.
no, in Muppet Treasure Island, spoiler, alert, he comes back. He doesn't die because you can't kill Sam the Eagle.
No. You're all weirdos.
Yeah.
I did think it was nice and bold to actually kill the main character like that and
Yeah.
not bring them back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a criticism. It's just it was an interesting touch, and again, maybe speaks to the audience this film was going for. Like, it wasn't pulling its punches in that way particularly. So, yeah.
Drink whenever you see an alien, which must have descended from a human and an animal.
Or like Emma Thompson is a cat.
Yeah,
David Hyde Pierce is a dog.
yeah.
Uh,
There's a few others. There's the turtle guy. Who, at the
Billy
start,
Bones is a turtle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, he's good, but I'm going to just keep saying this about everything. He's good, but he's no Billy Connolly.
Yeah.
Of course.
This does
The
make,
black spot.
does make me wonder though. Is this film set in the future or like an alternate, like Star Wars a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? What is this?
Yeah, it never gets established, does that? Does it really? Does it need to?
I thought it was a really weird choice because if you say to me Treasure Island but in space, I'm like, that's cool. That is a really interesting concept. You can do something with that. But it really felt like this film took them into space and then tried to make space as much like the sea as humanly possible.
No, I like that. I like that everybody was like sailing around in ships.
Sure, there were whales, like
Yeah, there were whales. There was barnacles growing on the bottom of the ship. Like
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah.
No, I find it good because there were some good jokes there.
Sure, again, it didn't feel like it was playing that as much for laughs. It's like, oh, it's the sea, but it's space, but it's still the sea. Like,
Well, like, they could have just turned it into Star Trek at that point,
yeah,
which would have been less fun.
I did think the introduction to Jim felt very like the modern remake of Star
Didn't
Trek.
it just?
Yeah.
Didn't it? Did you guys notice the Star Trek reference in this, by the way?
Oh, the bit that came before the quote I read out earlier. About
Yeah,
the,
it was- yeah.
Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor. Yeah, not that kind of doctor.
Yeah. Damn it, Jim! I'm a doctor, not an astronomer. Or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
That was good.
Yeah.
I thought the beginning scene where he's a kid reading the book immediately made me think it was Never-Ending Story. I thought the whole thing was going to be in the real world with him reading a story about Treasure Island but in space, which I thought, oh, that'll be interesting. And then it flashed forwards. The whole thing was in the space universe, but yeah, it was interesting.
I wonder how many kid stories there are in real life now which are actually true. You know, they're just based off myths of explorers with unfinished missions or whatever. Because that's what that one was, wasn't it? He was reading a story about, and there's this map that leads to Treasure Planet.
Yes.
So somebody must have learnt all about that, learnt also what Treasure Planet looks like, despite the fact no one's found it, and put it in a book.
Yeah.
I wonder how many books there are that are actually like that no one knows they're true.
That's an odd one. I haven't got to get my head around that. But yeah, probably not many.
It's a head
Probably not
scratcher. Yeah.
It's like Princess Bride, isn't it? About reading the book. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of films that do that, employ that. Yeah.
I think if you looked closely, there was a doll of Stitch on his on the shelf in his bedroom.
Oh,
the
classic Disney Easter egg.
An Easter egg.
That's a good one.
Yeah. See, Stitch goes everywhere.
It's modern. It's modern as well. Same year.
So you're not seeing little tiny Jim Hawkins being placed into other...
No.
Marketing fail. Marketing fail.
That's the thing. I don't think... Yeah, obviously, there was no sequel. We wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
There was a computer game, and I think that was about it. There was a soundtrack and a making-of book.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Apparently, there was a sequel in production that was going to feature Willem Dafoe as the voice of a character called Ironbeard. Because obviously, with Disney films, because they take so long to make, the sequels are normally in production before the original comes out.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was the day Willem Dafoe was due to record his first lines. I read about this. May not be true. The film came out and the box office grosses came in, and then the producers got a phone call saying cancel everything. We're not making any more of this. Yeah, very sad. That's
shame.
Yeah. I'll just do one more then, which is drink for questionable logistics.
Go on.
I mean, it's a Disney film, so I don't want to do it. It's a kids' film, so I'm not going to get too like.
Suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, I know.
It's a science fiction film made up of drawings.
I know. But yeah, no, just a lot of the like. Oh, but they're riding a ship in space. But what are they breathing?
Oh yeah, I thought that multiple times.
And then when you see the whale, it's like, what are they breathing? Like, yeah, there's and I could not get my head around the end at all. Like when he finds the portal.
Yeah.
It felt really convoluted. Like so the portal, he has the ball that leads them to the portal, and the portal is every time you touch the ball, the portal takes you to another dimension or another place.
Yeah.
It was a lot of information to absorb at a very late point in the film that they hadn't really set up. Like,
yeah. I'll give you that. Also, did nobody think that that's a very valuable piece of technology? Probably more valuable than a planet filled with gold. Probably take that with you. Like, a portal that you can travel anywhere in time and space. Anywhere in space as quick as you like.
Yeah. Just what John was saying there made me think like it was an explanation that you get in a modern Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It was don't listen to this too closely, and we're just going to rattle through it and just go with it. Okay.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. Anyway.
So that's how Flint did it. He used his portal to roam the universe, stealing treasure.
But where'd he stash it all? Where's that blasted treasure?
Treasure!
It's buried in the...
Buried in the centroid of the mechanism. What if the whole planet is the mechanism, and the treasure is buried in the center of this planet?
Okay, let's take a moment to talk about Patreon.
Yes, let's. I appreciate that head wobble you did there.
Did I have one?
You did. So I got Patreon. Girl.
All right, John, go on. What
So yeah, Beyond the Box Set is now on Patreon. So if you're a fan of the show and want to hear a little bit more from us and show us some support, you can go to patreon.com/Beyond the Box Set, where we have a tiered system where you can access a whole host of bonus content, including our bonus movie review show, Beyond the Box Set, where we review the latest movies we've seen at the cinema, such as Isle of Dogs, Love, Simon, A Quiet Place, hopefully at some point by the time this is out. It's been our white whale for a while. So there's that. We'll do that weekly. We'll do other little bonus episodes here and there as well, which hopefully you'll be hearing soon. We also have... What else do we have, Harry?
Oh, you throw it back at me, are you? Okay.
Yeah, catch that ball.
Every month we do a free advert slot, about a 30-second ad or something, which can be of anything that you want to advertise. Could be a podcast, could be a business, it could be a book that you've written yourself.
I've written one of those.
Yeah.
Want to promote it for as little as $2 a month?
No.
Or seeing as you've done us a favour of coming on, you could promote it here if you like.
Thanks. I'm not quite sure when it's out because I'm still waiting for the proofs.
Right.
But if you go to my website, jamesdoes.co.uk, you'll find out when it comes out. Or you can follow me on Twitter, James Does Disney. It's going to be a book about Disney films and their spin-offs and sequels, and so yeah, ideal maybe.
That sounds very on brand for our listenership. Yeah.
It'd be a valuable addition to your film library.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Disney Connections and Collections. Volume 1 is movies, and Volume 2 I'm working on at the moment, which is TV movies.
Ah,
very
I
cool.
won't say any more about that.
The perfect gift for friends and family. So,
Yes, yeah, if they're really nerdy and into Disney.
yes. If they're listening to this podcast, there's a high probability they are both of those things. So yeah, once a month we will also let one of our Patreon supporters choose a film that we will cover on the main show, and if you want to join us and talk about it, you're welcome to do so, although you don't have to.
Come in person, come in by Skype, it's up to you.
Yeah, either way, either's fine by us. We always love to have guests on. And also, if you would like to be a character in one of our sequels, just send us some details about yourself or anyone else you might like to see featured, real or
I thought
imagined.
about that, like send us details of your friend.
Yeah, I mean, if you
like a prank.
Yeah, exactly. we will feature Princess Diana if you want us to. You know, like anyone, living, dead, historic, real.
Does Paul Burrell listen to your podcast?
Maybe if he does, then yeah, we'll do it. We'll review the Queen. Yeah, so that's another thing we do. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. So for all that content, if you well, mainly, if you want to support the show, if you like us, if you've enjoyed listening and you feel you want to give something back, give money back.
Yes.
Go to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset and donations are there. Thank you.
You can donate as little or as much as you want, from as little as $2 a month all the way up to $15,000 a month, which is the ceiling, which we are disputing and fighting, but that's the most... we're waiting for that day when somebody will... Yeah.
We've got a lot of fans who want to pay us more than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
we're assuming
but they're not allowed. So currently they're all paying, sort of like $5.
Yeah.
I think you should have for only $5 a month. You'll be able to feed Harry and John.
Indeed,
for
yeah.
2 days.
We should do one of those adverts, yeah. You can feed this boy, this poor starving boy.
Aww.
It might work. It might really pull at the heartstrings.
Yeah.
That's true, and I am hungry a lot of the time.
Yeah, so there you go.
And I do look homeless.
Yeah. See, it's all coming together, yeah. I think this might be an option. It's a pay-as-you-feel system, so whether you do donate $2 a month or $15,000 a month or anything in between, you'll get access to all the same content either way. So go to patreon.com/beyondtheboxset.
Yeah, right. Sequels.
Yes.
I'll go first.
Sequels.
If that's all right with you. Do you want to go second, then Johnny third?
Yeah, we normally have a guest in the middle.
Okay.
We like to have a guest sandwich.
Oh, well, that's fine with me.
Cool, yeah.
Cool, I mind. Well, I've got a bit of a pre-credit thing.
Sure.
So the film is going to be set about 10 years beforehand.
So it's still in the Treasure Planet universe of space.
So that's all within that, but it's a prequel.
So that means Jim's going to be about 10, maybe?
Yeah.
5, 10, 7?
So this is going to be the story of Jim's dad.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So it's a midquel.
Midquel?
A midquel, yes.
Is it?
Like Bambi 2, which takes place not before Bambi, not after Bambi, but in the middle, in the bit between Bambi's mum dying and him getting older.
I understand what you mean by midquel, but I really don't think... I think this counts as a prequel because...
There is a scene at the beginning, though.
Yeah, there is a scene, yes, but
between then and
but that's like flashback, kind of. I don't really think this counts as a midquel.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
Oh, the tension.
So, a quick Google told me that Jim's dad is called Leyland, or Leyland.
I'll believe you, sure.
Cool, 2 blank faces there. Who I'm saying is an army lieutenant working for the Royal Navy Fleet. He's the first officer of the flagship of the fleet, the RLS Intrepid, led by Captain Will Arrow.
Oh, okay.
Who is the big brother of Mr. Arrow from the original film.
And who is playing Will Arrow?
How does Hugh Jackman sound?
As in, literally, how does he sound as a voice actor? Yeah, I mean, he's good.
Middling.
He can sing. He's got a good sonorous voice. I think he'd be good in voice roles. I don't know if he's done any, but he'd definitely be good at them.
He was a voice in Flushed Away.
Ah, there you go.
DreamWorks Aardman film. Yeah. I don't think he's done any Disney work.
One day.
I think he could do anything now.
Oh, yeah.
After he's done Logan and The Greatest Showman,
yeah,
a lot of people are aware he's got range.
Yes. Vocal range. He can sing. Sorry. I was like,
it's not your best
clearly I can't. Sorry, not my best, no.
It's in the room.
Okay, so the opening scene is going to be a sweeping shot of their fantastic new ship in all its glory, and then the ship gets attacked by 3 pirate ships.
Okay. Can I stop you again for a second?
Bloody hell.
Sorry, there might be a lot of these. So, Mr. Arrow in this film was kind of a dog, am I remembering correctly?
What?
Was Mr. Arrow a dog?
No, it was kind of made out of stone. It was a bit like the Thing.
Oh, it was like a granity thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So is this character the same? Or?
Yeah.
That's the design, is the same? Okay, sure.
So it's a very intense battle with many hands lost, and the Intrepid is... by the way, it's carrying an unknown but very valuable piece of cargo. Top secret. The pirates board the ship and fight hand-to-hand with the crew. The fight is brutal, many hands are lost.
Just hands.
Yeah, many
hands are lost.
Just
lots of fingers flying.
Lots of attacks to the wrist.
Is Captain Hook part of the crew?
Yeah.
Okay, many people are lost. If that makes it clearer for you.
Sure,
Okay.
yeah.
And Captain Arrow orders the crew to abandon ship. In a conversation on the bridge, Captain Arrow says to Leyland, by the way, Leyland was his first mate. I'm not sure I mentioned that before. Leyland, I want you to lead the crew to safety. I'm going to fight for the ship. But, Captain, I'm much more used by your side. Lieutenant Eckhart has much more capable of leading them. That's an order, Commander.
Who is, sorry?
Lieutenant Eckhart, character who comes up later.
Okay, sure.
Well, initially she was going to be Amelia,
Yeah.
who was Emma Thompson.
Sure.
Okay.
But then I needed to change her, so I thought, Amelia Eckhart. Eckhart! There we go.
Oh, Amelia Earhart.
I like it.
Eckhart. I like it. Cool. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
So who's voicing Amelia Eckhart?
I don't know, I haven't thought of anybody. Who can you think of?
We're looking for a female character in this.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it may as well be Emma Thompson, but that would just be a little confusing.
Sure. Well, how about Helena Bonham Carter?
Sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say, being a Disney sequel, it could be. Does Emma Thompson have a sister?
She does. A less famous sister, but she has a sister, yeah.
Yeah, she could voice it.
Sure.
Like in Pocahontas, where Mel Gibson's brother played.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, the same character.
Okay, well, Sister Thompson is playing her.
Sophie Thompson. Sophie Thompson is Emma Thompson's sister.
Do you know that?
I do, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Genuinely.
Wasn't sure if that was made up or not.
No, it just came to me then. I was like racking my brains and then, yeah.
But Captain Amoy's by his side. Lieutenant Eckhart is more than capable of leading them. That's an order, Commander. Now, get to your post. And as the saying goes, the captain goes down with the ship. So the two salute, and Leland has a tear in his eye. Two of them draw their swords and exit the bridge to fight their way to the lifeboats and to the cargo hold. Leland gets there without a problem and organises the crew onto the boats and off the ship within minutes. He maps out a journey to the nearest star base and they set off. Lieutenant Eckhart... Oh, I did cast her. Sorry. Emma Watson?
Oh, okay. Emma Thompson, Emma Watson. Okay.
I mean, I didn't actually make that thing when I was thinking of it. Emma Watson was just who I thought of.
Okay, she's more bankable than Sophie Thompson, so sure.
Yeah.
This must be going to the cinemas and not straight to DVD.
Yeah.
So she looks to Leyland and asks, what did the captain go down fighting for? And with a tear in his eye, Leyland looks back at the ship and sees the pirate ships leave and fly off at speed. The Intrepid is adrift for a second and then explodes. Cut to black, and the title of the film is displayed, The Map to Treasure Planet. So they're still fighting over the map, essentially.
The same map, yeah.
The same map, yeah.
Okay.
The crew arrive at the starbase and are taken good care of. Leland is debriefed by the generals of the fleet. He's ordered to take some paid leave, along with the rest of his crew. But what are you going to do about Captain Arrow? He may still be out there as a prisoner of the pirates. Well, until we can retrieve the wreckage of the ship, we cannot assume his survival. That's all, Commander Leyland. You were dismissed, and ships back to your home planet will be departing in a few hours. So Leyland walks out, and the next scene is of him arriving home and meeting his wife and his son, Jim.
So little Jim, yeah.
Okay.
And, well, this is the same scene from a part of the flashback where he walks in and Jim's just on the floor playing with a boat or something, and he just ruffles
Did you
his
say
head
he
and
was
walks
playing
past.
Leland?
Yeah. Hugh Jackman.
Oh, sorry, yes, Hugh Jackman, sorry. Yeah.
No, Hugh Jackman wouldn't abandon his son.
No, he's too nice.
Yeah. No, hang on. There might be a reason why.
Yeah.
So he now has a very extreme case of PTSD.
Sure.
And, well, it bothers him for years. We're going to pass over that quite quickly.
Sure. Skim over it.
Because it's not very fun. And not much plot happens. He's just difficult. So a few years later, a letter comes through the post addressed to him from the Navy. The letter says that they've managed to retrieve the wreckage of the Intrepid and have found no signs of the captain being on board at the time of the explosion. They've made the assumption the captain has been taken by the pirates and are inviting Leyland to help his recovery. Leyland is being offered his own ship and promoted to the rank of captain if he accepts. The next morning, with only a quick word to his wife, he sets off for his mission without turning back.
So that's the scene of abandonment?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, right. Okay. So does he have a good relationship with his son? A bad relationship? Is he?
Probably not a good one. Let's be honest.
It all stems from the PTSD. He can't connect. Okay.
Essentially.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, he can't really form emotional attachments because he feels too much guilt for losing his captain.
Okay, sure.
When the first officer's job is to look after the captain.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, a father's job is to look after his son, but you know.
No, his son's fine. He's got the mother.
True. Fine, yeah.
So he goes to space dock and is shown to his new ship, the RLS Galaxy. He's introduced to his first mate, Commander Eckhart. And in fact, many of the crew of the original ship are they're all here. They're all looking to find their old captain. They are given a heading of where the pirates were last seen, and they head off. Years of tracking these pirates eventually leads them to the Skull Planet. It's literally a whole planet in the shape of a skull.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
They make their approach with all hands at battle stations, and they find their way to the main civilization on the planet and quietly land the ship in the outskirts without the pirates noticing. Captain Leyland orders Commander Eckhart to infiltrate the base. She stealthily makes her way to the pirates while trying to find out where they keep their prisoners. Turns out she's underestimated the pirate skills and is very quickly surrounded and outnumbered. She surrenders and gets taken to the leader. She's taken to a large throne room with lots of jewels. Sitting on a throne is John Silber. And he's there with his stupid arm and everything.
His stupid arm.
So, who do we have here then? Well, my name is Commander Eckhart of the RLS Galaxy, formerly Lieutenant Captain Arrow of the RLS Intrepid. Ah, you're one of Arrow's crew. Been waiting for you lot to show up. Well, what can I do for you then? Tell us what you want with our captain. It's not what we want from him, it's what I want for him.
So, Long John Silver has taken Captain Arrow prisoner all these years, after all these years. Okay, right.
Do you want to trade? Fine. What do you want? I want your top scientist to open this darn thing for me, he says while throwing the map to her.
So this is the sphere from the original film, the thing that only figure could open. Okay.
Yeah. Fine. Let me leave and I'll convey the message. But first, I want to speak with Captain Arrow just to make sure he's okay. Sure, go ahead. Guards, take her to him. So she gets escorted to his cell. She finds him in a cell with multiple prisoners. He comes to the front and holds the bars and has a conversation with her. I'm here to rescue you. Well, thank you, Lieutenant. It's Commander now. Leland is captain. We have a new ship. Can't wait for you to see it. Well, as much as I want to escape, we need to have that map with us. We can't let him have the map. Okay, leave it with me. We'll be back with a plan.
So do they know what the map entails, what's in it and stuff?
Yeah, the captain does.
Okay.
Somehow.
Sure, okay.
So she goes back to John Silver and says that she's going to go and see her scientists. He insists on coming too to make sure that she doesn't pull any tricks on him. So he brings a band of his crew, about 10 pirates or something, back to the Galaxy ship.
Is it the same crew? Are we talking like the head on the legs and the
probably
Granite Man and Flatula and all? Yeah. You know, Flatula's got to come back. Yeah.
No.
Do you have Ditto?
Not Ditto, Morph.
Morph.
God
damn it, John.
Ditto. I'm sorry. Well, they should have made it so similar to what was clearly a Pokemon.
Yeah, let's say that he's got Morph. There's no plot surrounding Morph. So.
Sure.
So they're taken back and immediately confined to quarters, obviously, and they're given their own science officer, Lieutenant Arrow, who's using a made-up name. That night, he challenges the pirates to a drinking game. And as he is a rock creature, he's pretty much immune to alcohol, but he can still pretend.
Okay.
So the game goes in his favour, obviously, and he gets them very drunk. He asks for a trade of information, which they drunkenly accept. He gives them false information on how to open the map, and in return, they tell him where the key is to unlock the cage containing the captain. He's just in the throne room, just like in the arm of the chair or something.
Okay.
They all pass out. Well, after they all pass out, Mr. Arrow leaves and shares this information with Captain Leyland. That night, Leyland, Arrow, and Eckhart, they all mount a rescue mission for their long-lost captain. They go in dressed as pirates, but find the costumes unnecessary, as all the pirates in the whole town or whatever it is, they're all passed out, because they're pirates, they get drunk all the time.
Sure, yeah. Not a lot of professionalism in that career path, really.
No, not really. They fetch the key from the throne room and go and unlock the captain. Captain Arrow's face lights up when he sees them. As soon as the door is opened, he runs straight for his little brother and gives him a big hug. He goes up to Leyland, holds up his hand in a salute, and says, "Captain." And Leyland returns his salute, and they give each other a knowing nod. The whole group of them, along with a few Captain Arrow's new prisoner friends as well. Bear in mind, he's been in there for years.
So he's got some of his own sidekicks, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. They make a quick exit and run back to the ship. They get back and very quietly move the knocked out pirates from their room, or carry them from their room and onto the ground outside. And then the ship takes off. Noise of the engine wakes up the pirates. Hey, they're going away! And Captain Arrow is waving over the side of the ship, holding the map in his hand. So long, suckers!
Sounds, on theme. Definitely like a line from this film.
They fly away as quickly as possible, but the pirates get in their ships, some of which are much faster, and catch up with them quickly. A fight ensues, which doesn't go very well at all, and Captain Leyland sees time repeating itself. He has only one option. He orders Commander Eckhart to take the map and the crew away to safety, while he buys them some time. She protests, but he says, "That's an order, Commander, now go." So they salute, similar to the start of the film, completely.
Sure.
And she draws her sword and exits the bridge to go and help all the crew onto the lifeboats. So now it's just the two captains. There's Leyland and there's Arrow. Captain, it's your choice if you want to stay or leave, but my plan is to buy the crew some time. I'm with you to the end, Captain. and they fly directly towards the pirate ship. At the last moment, we see John Silver eject from his ship in a small craft as the two ships crash and destroy one another.
Okay.
John Silver slowly makes his way to the escaped ships of the good guys and starts chasing them down. We cut to Eckhart handing a map over to one of the prisoners from the pirate land, the big turtle-like fellow.
Ah, I see what's happening here.
Keep this safe. Take our fastest ship and go to these coordinates. It's Captain Leyland's orders. I will do, Captain. And that's the end of my story.
Ah, okay. So why did you choose not to use Emma Thompson then? Was that just because you thought it was too much?
Because then she'd have seen John Silver.
Oh, I see.
And she's
the
cook on her ship.
Okay,
yeah.
so.
She knows the pirate.
Okay, oh, that's pretty okay. And I like that. So it's just setting up all of the reasons why everyone was doing what they would do. I like that.
I took a few pages out of Rogue One.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it does have Rogue One vibe. Yeah. What have you got a title?
Yeah. It was,
you said
the map to Treasure Planet.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay, like it. Yeah, good. So how did Arrow survive then if he was on the boat?
Well, that was Captain Arrow. That was our character's big brother.
Oh, okay. So he was the other character.
So he didn't, and Jim's dad, Captain Leyland, also didn't. They both died.
Oh, it was okay. Now I understand.
Was that not clear?
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, it is now. Cool. Any questions?
No.
Very good. Cool. Okay, so on to you, James. What have you got?
Well, mine is not so thought out and plotted.
So now is mine. So Harry does go big on detail. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got a sketch.
That's fine. Let's hear the sketch.
So I was thinking that Treasure Planet, Jim, he's got some daddy issues. Mm-hmm. Also, at the moment, I've been watching American Crime Story.
Sure.
Assassination of Gianni Versace. And Andrew Cunanan, who's played by Darren Criss, who's got some real daddy issues, who just worked out and has turned sort of serial killer.
Right, okay. Spoilers.
Yeah, sorry. He kills Gianni Versace, you know. So yeah, I've been thinking this is one of the few Disney film, well, not one of the few, a Disney film where there's no love interest for the main character. Mm-hmm. So why don't we make him gay? Like people have been wanting Elsa to be gay in Frozen and Captain America.
She isn't?
She could be. She could be anything you want. That's one of the good things about Frozen.
Yeah.
I went to a whole conference on Frozen once that was called a Symphosium. And learned a hell of a lot about Frozen that I didn't need to know. That's by the by. So yeah, I thought, let's make this one of the most Disney-ish films of all. And as part of my research, I looked at 390 Disney films. I didn't watch them all. I collected data on them all, and then sort of average things out to see what's the average length of a Disney film, what are their themes and things. The average Disney film is live action, so what I wanted to do was something a little bit different, a live action sequel to an animated film.
Oh, has that ever been done?
Not with Disney. I don't know if it's been done anywhere else.
Yeah,
but
very interesting idea.
Yeah, and I thought we could keep a lot of the same cast, the voice cast, so David Hyde Pierce would still be Doppler.
Sure.
Emma Thompson could still be Amelia. I think I'd like Darren Criss to be Jim.
Sure.
If he's
as opposed to Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, because I think he's a bit old for the role now.
True, yeah.
Because I think it would be set not long after the events in the original film.
Now, how you might be getting to this, so by all means, tell me to shut up if it's too soon. How are you planning to handle the non-human element?
Well,
CGI
I think
is pretty good these days, isn't it?
Yeah, CGI. But then Emma Thompson, if you've seen her in Nanny McPhee, she's no stranger to a bit of prosthetics. So I think that'll be fine. I think David Hyde Pierce would probably be fine with that.
I would love to see David Hyde Pierce dressed as a dog.
Who wouldn't?
Immediately on board.
I'm thinking Joseph Gordon-Levitt could play Silver, but Silver kind of So basically what I've done here with my sequel ideas is thought, what am I watching at the moment? And how can I adapt them? So I'm also
never done that, have we? Never.
So I'm also watching Farscape.
Right, okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with Farscape. It's another show set in space. And there's a character of Scorpius who kind of lives inside the main character's head a little bit because he's got this chip in his head. And he's the bad guy and he sort of has conversations with him a bit. As if he's going mad, and so that could be the Silver character, voiced by or played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Can be this sort of little voice in Jim's ear telling him to kill. And Martin Short will be fine as Ben, and Laurie Metcalf could be Sarah Hawkins.
That's very easy.
That fits very well. Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking that it could be also, you've got all these massive sitcom characters. Let's make it a serial killer comedy.
Okay. Great.
Disney hasn't done that yet.
No, I can't believe they've not got around to that yet. I know.
And the average Disney film is G-rated or Universal or PG. So let's make this Disney's first 15 or 18 rated film.
Wow, okay.
Because their companies that they've owned, like Miramax and Hollywood Studios, have put out 15, 18s, but the highest rating that a Disney film's ever got so far is a 12A in the UK, or a PG-13 in the US. So I was also thinking, you've got your Marvel Cinematic Universe at the moment.
Yeah.
So how about Jim's murder spree happens through the Disney animated universe?
Oh.
In a bit sort of Wreck-It Ralph 2 or Wreck-It styley, where you're going to get all the princesses together in one film. Yeah, I think that could be an interesting thing, and a bit like Stitch, as we were talking about earlier, because the trailers for Lilo and Stitch featured Stitch in Beauty and the Beast or a scene from Aladdin. So I think that would be interesting to see how we could do that in live action, all the other films. But I was thinking, you know how in American Horror Story, Penelope Cruz is just, I mean...
American Crime Story, sorry.
Sorry, American Crime Story, yeah, you can't tell a word she's saying. John. She could pretty much play all of the other characters, and I'd love to see her tackling as many accents as she can, and she cope with prosthetics too. And then I thought Ricky Martin, who's pretty useless and not underused in American Crime Story, could be Morph.
Yeah.
Don't know how we depict him. Maybe he could just hang around in the background of the scenes. Yeah. So that's as much of a sketch as I have. Is an LGBT themed serial killer comedy. Very Disney, right?
Yeah. Very marketable. Yeah.
Reiki.
Yeah.
So Jim's gay.
Yeah.
And he's going around killing Disney princesses.
Yeah,
is that the basic
maybe
premise?
Maybe they could be rivals. He's after the princes, so he's bumping off the princesses. That would work, right?
Okay.
Or maybe he just doesn't like people singing.
Yeah, it could. Well, it could. That could be a good angle. It could be like this kind of whole reaction against what Disney stands for, because this film was trying to be something a little bit different, obviously. Yeah. Or you could go really meta and like he's really bitter about the box office grosses.
Yes. Oh, that'd be good. He teams up with John Carter to.
Yeah.
Yeah, to attack the critics. Maybe you could come out and
yeah. What, like us?
Yeah.
Have you got like an end game in mind? How would this resolve itself? Like,
no, I think he could run and run.
Yeah, Crime Story, didn't he just kill himself at the end?
I don't know. I haven't got that yet.
Sorry, I was thinking. Sorry, spoiler. I have vague memories of the real story.
I think he does. Yeah, maybe he could, because that would be very Disney-esque, wouldn't it? If the lead character killed himself.
Oh yeah,
that hasn't happened yet.
Well,
that's my.
Well, that's horrifying.
Yes, thanks.
But interesting.
You'll find it even more horrifying. I think the theme tune will be "I'm Still Here." Maybe he hears that in his head and that drives him to kill.
Oh, okay. As in the Sondheim number? Or...
No, I'm Still Here. The
song from this film. Oh
no.
Yeah. No. Did you hear the other song over the end credits was by B.B. Mac?
Yes.
So that was very much this film came out in 2002, not 2001, not 2003. That one period when B.B. Mac were the hot thing. Like,
of course.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. Okay. Any questions, Harry?
Don't think so, no.
I have a lot of questions.
We've gone dark this week.
Yes.
Actually, for once, I haven't. So,
you haven't? Okay.
Yeah, I might have the lightest one this week.
I've not gone that dark, I don't think.
No, I mean,
went somewhere else.
Both of yours ended with a fair bit of death and, sadness and self-sacrifice. So.
That's a comedy.
Yeah, true. Comedy and tragedy,
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I don't have one idea this week. I've just decided to, rather than one overarching idea, I've gone for 3 smaller ideas this week. Because my take on this was that, obviously, this film is based on the idea of it's taken the existing story of Treasure Island, which to me is one of the classic story. It's like All About Eve or what other ones are reused all the time,
like Hamlet.
Ben-Hur.
Yeah, it's like Hamlet. It's like Ben-Hur. It's like All About Eve. It's one of those classic
Frankenstein.
Romeo and Juliet. Exactly. It's Frankenstein. It's one of those classic stories that just gets adapted to different things. So obviously this film was like the story of Treasure Island, but in space. Muppet Treasure Island was the story of Treasure Island, but with Muppets. You know what I mean? Like, so I was thinking, what other context to tell that story might you have?
Okay, wait. Do you want to try and guess?
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go Mad Max.
No, I'm not going Mad Max, although it could work. Well, no, because it's this story, so it's not another story. It's this story in different contexts.
Okay, well, Treasure Island in the desert.
No.
Okay.
Cross my mind, but no.
Treasure Island under the sea.
No, I did think of that too, obviously. But yeah.
That'd be too obvious.
Something with time travel?
No, not really.
This is difficult.
This
I don't
is
know what you might have. Yeah.
Well, would you like to hear what I did come up with?
All right, go on.
Okay.
You're very smug. I'm not happy about this.
There's a lot of there may be a little bit of pun work involved in this, so that did inspire it a little bit.
Great.
So the first idea I had is called Treasure Granite, and it's set. It takes place in 145 million BC, and in this one, Jim Hawkins is an adventure-loving iguanodon who's trapped by his responsibility to take care of a small dino cafe run by his mother. One day, their grazing lands are invaded by a grizzled old triceratops called Harry Horns. Billy Bones, Harry Horns. Who begs for sanctuary, and Jim shows him mercy, and the old man takes a bit of a shine to him. But then soon they're attacked by a vicious pack of Dilophosaurus, which are those dinosaurs from Jurassic Park that spit acid into the guy's face. Because I thought like Blind Pew is they don't really do the Blind Pew plot of this one, do they?
No.
But that is in the original Treasure Island, and it's in the Muppet one, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blind Pew is the blind fiend.
Okay. Yeah,
Visually
so blind
challenged
someone.
fiend. God, I love that film so much. I know I've mentioned it before. God, I love it. Anyway, so yeah, Harry Horns is mortally wounded in this attack by the Dilophosauruses, and he gives Jim a mysterious egg that he says must not fall into the wrong hands. And he urgently warns Jim to keep an eye out for the one-clawed raptor before dying dramatically. And then Jim notices that on the egg is actually etched a map, and he follows the map to treasure. That's as far as this one went.
Treasure Rock.
Treasure Rock, yeah, exactly.
Treasure Cave?
I'm not sure, yeah. Something mythical. There's some. What would a dinosaur consider treasure?
Trees? An anti-meteor device.
Yes, yeah. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, like some kind of bunker. Maybe the meteor that wipes out the dinosaurs is like visible in the skyline. It's like a,
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That's as far as I got with that. Just the same story, but with dinosaurs.
Treasure Bunker.
Treasure Bunker.
You
Yeah.
have to make sure it's not too similar to the Disney film Dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or indeed the Disney affiliated TV show Dinosaurs. Like.
Yeah.
So that was Treasure Granite.
And would that be animated?
I think so. Yeah. My next one is not animated. It's live action, and this is called Treasure Highland. Not out of Scotland. It's this
Highlander?
No, Treasure High Land, as in a school.
Stoners.
This is based on the way that a lot of Shakespearean classic literature, like how Clueless is Emma.
Okay.
The film Clueless is Jane Austen's Emma. 10 Things I Hate About You is The Taming of the Shrew. Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. That class. It's very common to take classic literature and turn it into a high school movie.
Yeah.
So this is kind of inspired by that. So it's the same story again, but set in a US high school with kind of a Mean Girls kind of vibe. And I was thinking,
You love that film.
I love Mean Girls.
You quote that all the time, or you say Mean Girls kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's
Like
an iconic
every other
movie.
episode.
It's an iconic
It's
movie.
fine. It's great.
Yeah.
Have you seen the
Mean
sequel?
Girls?
Have you seen the sequel to Mean Girls?
No, but it upsets me because we would so have done Mean Girls now if it wasn't that shitty unauthorized sequel.
I'm sure it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean Tina Fey didn't even write it, so you know.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a bit of a deep cut. This is one for our hardcore fans. Do you remember way back in episode 5 when I did the good, when I did the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly sequel as a teen?
That
Mean
wasn't
Girls.
episode 5.
Episode 4, 6.
Maybe
It was
I'm
around
not
that
sure.
time.
I just know that 5 was the fifth element.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, but it was definitely early days. But I did a sequel to a remake of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly as a Mean Girls-esque. You're right, I do this a lot.
Yeah,
as a
see?
Mean Girls-esque. It's my new Truman Show. It's a crush. So I did The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly movie, the Clint Eastwood classic, remade as a Mean Girls-esque high school movie called The Good, the Bad, and the Fugly.
Fugly?
Yeah.
That's where you're going with that.
Yeah. So in that one, I think I cast Anna Kendrick as as the Clint Eastwood character, and I think she steals like a sex tape or she steals like a compromising tape of 2 high school bitches played by Taylor Swift and Aubrey Plaza, who are the bad and the fugly.
Okay.
And it's not fugly because it wasn't fugly because I have them ugly. Aubrey Plaza was the fugly because she was like the goth. Because do you know who Aubrey Plaza is?
Yes.
Yeah. So she always plays like these dark, twisted characters. So it was the idea that she was just like a rebel, not that she's not to imply that she's anyway ugly. She's far from it.
She was playing April Ludgate.
Yeah, basically her character was like a gothy April Ludgate type. Anyway, so basically that film ended with her double-crossing them and getting away with this compromising tape. So in this film, I thought maybe she's like Billy Bones. So this film maybe centers on somebody else who's like this introverted girl who, I want it to be a girl, who's in like a drama class or something, and maybe she's like cleaning up after a drama class, yearning for adventure, and maybe it will come to me. And maybe who did I say I cast? Amber Benson, up in the
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick. And maybe Anna Kendrick comes in.
That was a fun little journey.
Yeah. And maybe Anna Kendrick staggers in and she's got this sex tape that she's been, defending, that she's stolen. And maybe she's been double crossed and she's like been mortally wounded. And she gives it to this high school, this new high school girl, and says, "Don't let this fall into the wrong hands." And again, from that, it builds out into a whole Treasure Island story somehow.
See, I thought your map could have been in the Burn book. And,
that would be that's better. Yeah, she comes with, that's better. Make it a proper Mean Girls crossover with the Burn book. The treasure leads to what would a teen girl have as treasure?
Diary.
Yeah. Maybe the Burn book is the treasure. Yeah, okay, I know. I like that better. So maybe it's actually just in the Mean Girls universe, and maybe it's like
the extended universe.
The extended Mean Girls universe, and it's Rachel McAdams' character. Maybe she's like graduated. Maybe she's like a figure of legend at this point, and maybe the treasure is the hunt for. Like 10 years later, the treasure is the hunt for her mythical Burn book, which has been burnt somewhere, and someone's got the map. That's better. Thank you, James. That is brilliant. Yeah.
This sounds a bit American Pie.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so both of those are a little bit thin. My third one is my favourite. So then my third and final suggestion.
The Truman Show.
Damn it! No, it's not. Never happening again now. It's been beaten to the ground. It's been killed stone dead.
So James, if you weren't aware, John has a habit of just giving up on his ideas and just being like, the whole thing was the Truman Show all along, as though that's a twist that's not been done before. He once did it 2 weeks in a row.
And you never let me forget it.
That's right.
Okay. So my final suggestion, which is my personal favourite, is Treasure Eye Friends. And it's a very standard Treasure Island remake, set in whenever the original was set, 16th century.
But with the Friends cast?
With the cast of Friends. So I thought we could talk about who. So basically, Jim Hawkins is going to be played by the actor who played Ben. Ross and Rachel's son.
All right, yep.
So now, how are we going to cast the rest of the characters?
Yeah. Okay, well, we got the mother.
Yeah.
I'm going Phoebe.
Well, I was thinking Jennifer Aniston, maybe. Or maybe they're two.
Actually, yes, Jennifer Aniston, because I feel like Lisa Kudrow can just be much funner in other places.
Yeah, I've got other thoughts. Or the mother could just be Carol and Susan. Be a double role.
Okay, yeah.
Because the mother's in crossover and be Sheldon's mum.
Laurie Metcalf, yeah. I want to keep it to the cast.
She's in from Friends.
Yeah, I'm just kind of. I want to keep it to the cast of Friends though. So we need a Billy Bones first, who's going to come in and give
Estelle.
That's good. I was thinking we needed to have Estelle in here somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean this was my choice for Lisa Kudrow.
Okay.
I thought she'd be a great Billy Bones. She could really ham that up.
Which one's Billy Bones again?
He was the one who came in and gave. Well, in this film, he's hardly in it. He gives
the turtle guy.
The turtle, yeah. He's a much bigger character in Muppet Treasure Island and Regular Treasure Island.
Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking in terms of the Muppet one. I could really imagine Lisa Kudrow doing that, like the black spot.
Yeah. But then, do you want to waste Lisa Kudrow in that?
She doesn't need to die straight away, though.
Yeah. Well, it's open.
He's doing another remake of Treasure Island, not another remake of Treasure Planet.
Yes.
Yeah. So he goes off. So he gets the map from maybe Estelle, maybe from Lisa Kudrow. We'll finalise later. And he has to have the dog, the David Hyde Pierce character, who is in the original one and in Muppet is what's he called? Fozzie Bear. Who does he play?
Fozziewig.
Yeah, Mr. Fozziewig, or something like that. Yeah. So that character. Anyway, just the rich benefactor who funds the whole thing essentially. So who's going to play that character? Do you think the David Hyde Pierce Avatar?
He's in it for quite a long time.
Yeah, he's got to be a main friend.
Let's just go Ross now. I think.
You want to go with Ross? Okay.
Yeah, that would fit. He's a very David Hyde Pierce sort of.
Yeah. Also, he's really annoying.
Yeah.
See.
Hey, you don't like Doppler.
See, I went with Joey.
What? No, absolutely no. I was thinking if not Ross, then Chandler, because Chandler could do good fart jokes.
Well, to be honest, I made it Ross. I made it Joey just because I have reasons for casting the other two male characters elsewhere.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's all a discussion. So then
we'll come back to this.
Yeah. So then obviously he hires the crew of criminals and pirates and stuff, and they got on the boat, and then they meet the captain, who's going to be played by
Monica.
Yeah, same. Clearly Monica.
There's no argument.
Yeah. And that led me to thinking, well, if the captain is Monica Geller Courtney Cox, then Mr. Arrow has to be Chandler.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the two of them were, as a couple, kind of, you know,
Yeah.
but her in control and him very much like the first mate.
You know what? Maybe Arrow's better as Ross. Or would that then turn into weirdness? I don't know. Just I think because the character, he's just very dry.
Yeah.
Like there's not really much room for jokes there, which Joey and Chandler are all about, and Ross is just
Ross.
Okay, well, I cast David Schwimmer Ross as Long John Silver, only because
he's had 3 divorces.
He's had 3 divorces, yeah, but also because obviously Long John Silver always has a little animal sidekick. So obviously in this it's Morph, and in Muppets it's the lobster. So obviously no brainer, Marcel the monkey.
Okay.
Yeah. So then obviously they set out on their voyage. You know, everything ensues. You know, there's the betrayals. There's Mr. Arrow, poor old Chandler, gets thrown overboard. There's a mutiny. The pirates take over. So the captain, Monica, and little Ben, Jim Hawkins, and who's the first? Oh, and Mr. Fozziwig, Joey. They have to abandon ship and take refuge on a mysterious island, where they run into Ben Gunn, who I have cast as Janice.
Totally.
Because you can totally imagine, couldn't you? Like they go running through the forest, and it's like, oh my god! Although maybe that means Chandler should be Mr. Fozziwig because
maybe
that reunion would be better. Actually.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fix it. Yeah, so Joey can be Mr. Arrow maybe because then he's stupid enough to get thrown overboard easily or something. I don't know. But in service of Chandler and Jan.
Sure. Okay. Well, we need to give Joey some jokes.
Yeah, we'll have to at some point.
Have you cast Rachel yet?
No, because she was going to be Mrs. Hawkins, but then I was thinking actually Carol and Susan would make more sense, or will be funnier.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Are there any major characters left? Have I used them all?
That's what I'm thinking.
No.
Mike. Paul Rudd.
No, we're not even cast Rachel yet. So.
Oh right, yeah.
But I mean, I was thinking.
major characters from Treasure Island left.
Yeah. This is the problem. I find it hard to like match everything up correctly. So then obviously they find the treasure. And then there's all of that stuff goes down, and there's not really any other characters. But I was thinking like the evil pirate crew should all be friends, side characters.
Oh, yeah.
So like Long John Silver's henchmen should definitely include Gunter, Fun Bobby, Jack and Judy, the Chick and the Duck.
Oh, the Chick and the Duck. Maybe we should have a scene where there's like. In one of the battle scenes where there's just loads of pirates, it's everybody who any friend has ever dated.
Oh yeah, totally. Wow. Yeah. So
a lot of people right
get
there.
Paul Rudd in there. Yeah. Get.
Paul Rudd gets demoted to just that.
Just
same as everyone else.
Yeah, just on the same level as like Tag.
He was a regular character for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
They could have the Chick and the Duck in place of the parrot.
Oh, that could work. Yes, and then it would be Joey as Long John Silver, maybe, or
maybe he needs to be
So we've got the Trick on one side, the Duck on the other, like the Devil and the Angel.
That could work. Yeah. I think what we're getting at is there's a lot of casting options here, but Rachel's hard to crowbar in. So.
Yeah.
Maybe Rachel can be in flashback as
Flint.
As Flint, yeah. Maybe Jennifer Aniston should be Arrow then, because she's like Monica's, constant companion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The trouble with Treasure Island is there's not enough roles.
There's not enough roles to make this.
Or roles for women.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of gender-neutral casting in my version, and to be fair, in other versions, yeah. Like there's been a female Ben Gunn, like Miss Piggy was Benjamina Gunn, and
yes, yeah.
So yeah, and that's about as far as it goes. I just thought it'd be really fun to have it as a Friends knockoff.
Wow, crikey!
Yeah. Any questions? Or
so that'll be live action.
It will be live action, yeah. I think that'd just be in itself. It might just be an episode of Friends, really.
Yeah. So you're not changing the setting, or is the setting going to be between, instead of the Benbow Inn, it'll be Central Perk?
Yes,
where it stars.
But I would like it to be set in like ye olde Central Perk. I want it to be like I want them all to be in like period costume. Right. I mean, that's going to make it funnier. So yeah.
Yeah, and film it in sepia tones.
Yeah, but they should definitely all be drinking coffee all the time. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, does that wrap it up?
I think that concludes. Yeah. So shall we get to some listener submissions?
Oh yeah.
You ought to forget those.
Cool. They're the best bit.
I know, yeah. So yeah, I put out the call to our listeners, and this is some of the ideas that they had. Jacob Ben had a wild idea. He said, I know a lot of sequels like to go bigger, but what if you did the opposite? I'm thinking instead of space pirates, the sequel could have old-timey pirates. They'd have normal ships, not spaceships, And they couldn't be trying to find a treasure planet though. So maybe they'd be looking for something harder to find in the normal ocean, like some kind of treasure island. And then Mike Visser said, "Yeah, but we're Muppets and Tim Curry." Like on board, great.
Who said that? Sorry,
Mike Visser.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. No. It's my alter ego, my nom de plume. Yeah. Francisco Fiello says the real treasure is the planet they found along the way. The planet they found inside, I think.
That's very Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
Get lost.
Blokebusters at Blokebusters said Jim is now an admiral in the academy. He receives it. So this is a direct sequel, I guess. He receives a message from Ben saying that he's remembered a message from Flint, Captain Flint. He hid his old ship, which was lost since his disappearance, before closing Treasure Planet. Jim manages to talk his superiors into letting him go, saying it would be a massive get for the academy. He enlists Amelia. Is that Emma Thompson? Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
He enlists Emma Thompson, Amelia, who's never felt 100% happy since settling down with all her kids and stuff. Hated that they made her have kids at the end. Hated.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't like that. Wasn't here for
What?
that at all.
Really?
They totally domesticated her. It was awful. I know it was supposed to be like kittens and puppies, but yeah.
Yeah, but she's not necessarily giving up her job.
No, it was implied. I don't know.
Was it? Was it?
Maybe I was putting my own prejudices in
It was
there.
an interesting interspecies romance.
Oh, totally, yeah.
wasn't it?
But then I
Yeah.
wish they'd made more jokes about that. Like.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, he enlists Amelia, who's never felt 100% happy since settling down. Morpher also comes along too. And they hear rumours that Silver is also hunting the ship, so they race to find it before he does. Various stuff happens, the plot moves along, leading to Jim losing his eye. And then we get to the place where the ship is hidden, and we see that Ben is already there. He's held hostage by Silver, who welcomes them and asks for their help. They begrudgingly agree, and they manage to find the ship buried in an ice cave. Jim tries to stop Silver getting on board, but fails. Silver grabs the wheel, which sets off another trap, and ends up killing him. Silver, I guess. Jim looks on in despair, but Ben tells him Silver knew about the trap. He wanted to stop the ship from being used by anyone but Flint. Ben then hands Jim Silver's eye, stating that he'd instructed Ben to give it to Jim after his death. They return home. Jim brings the figurehead with him. He lies to his superiors, and he sets up the figurehead at his mum's inn. The title is Treasure Planet 2, The Ship in the Stars. So I guess it's Jim becoming Long John Silver?
Looks like it, yeah.
So
that took a journey. Huh?
It did, didn't it?
He loses his eye and he gets Silver's eye.
Maybe he just loses his eye to make him, because the Silver lost a hand or a leg or something. He has to be mutilated. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Interesting.
I hope we've done that justice, Blokebusters. Thank you for that. Dadzone at Dadzonecast admitted they have not seen this film, but they said, "I'm sure they found treasure, right? So in the treasure, the lead character maybe finds a magic lamp and rubs it, and it's Aladdin."
That was something I thought was missing. Where was the lamp? I wanted to see a
little
lamp
just
in
I'd have a
there.
little Easter egg. Yeah,
Yeah, because they were pretty much in the Cave of Wonders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, False Starts at False Starts Pod said, "Whatever the sequel is, can we finally get some presents for these guys and Atlantis in the parks? Because Discoveryland in Paris is where they rightfully belong." Are they not represented at all in Disneyland? I'm assuming you've been.
I don't know. Treasure Planet and and Atlantis: The Lost Empire. Although Atlantis: The Lost Empire got a sequel, it didn't really get much else.
Oh dear.
And I don't know. Have you seen Atlantis: Lost Empire?
No.
It's along the lines of this film.
As in, it's good. Or?
It's good. Yeah, it's as good as this film, I think. And it's a different feel again because it's a young teenage hero, but he's kind of bespectacled and he's not all muscle bound, and he has this sort of crew of who go to try and find Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
And the crew is made up of a range of ethnicities, which is a bit sort of different for a Disney film. And then there's this, when they find Atlantis, there's this whole world with sort of alienish creatures, including the head one voiced by Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's good. Yeah, it's a shame we can't do it on here because it's got a sequel.
Oh, it did do well enough to get a sequel then?
Yeah, straight to DVD sequel, which was sort of made up of 3 episodes for a purported TV series that didn't happen. So,
right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like Treasure Planet, it didn't really have any impact in the parks.
Yeah. Just try and brush them under the carpet a little bit. It's a shame.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, so that was an impassioned plea for more representation of that. Cool. Okay, so I guess that's Treasure Planet. So thanks, James, for joining us. That was
Thank you very much for having me.
It's been great to have you. I've been looking forward to it for a long time.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to plug while you're up here?
I've plugged my book.
Remind us again, though.
So my book, which is coming out, I don't know, sometime this year. I'm waiting for the proofs back from the publisher, which I can't believe I can even say. If you go to my website, jamesdoes.co.uk, or follow me on Twitter, jamesdoesdisney. My book is called Disney Connections and Collections. I think it's that way around. It's a while since I've seen it. Disney Connections and Collections movies. And then there's a second volume coming out once I've written it. yeah. So it'll be available, I think, only on Amazon. But yeah, please buy it.
Cool. Well, we'll definitely we'll tweet out when that book comes out. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool, great. If you have any sequel ideas for Treasure Planet or any movies we've done in the past, please let us know. We are Beyond the Box Set. You can find us at beyondtheboxset.com. Our podcast is available on all good podcasting platforms, including iTunes, Stitcher, Acast, Spotify, Google Play, and many more. Just search Beyond the Box Set, or go to our website where we have all the links. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe, and if you would like to leave us a review, that really helps us to find new listeners. You can also support us on Patreon, as we mentioned earlier. Just go to patreon.com/Beyond the Box Set, where you can access all of our bonus content for as much or as little as you like. We're on all good forms of social media, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Once again, just search Beyond the Box Set. And we have merchandise available on tpublic.com. Again, just go to tpublic.com and search Beyond the Box Set, or follow the links on our website, beyondtheboxset.com.
And breathe.
So, next week,
okay,
it's my turn to do a film, I believe. So, we recently reviewed Isle of Dogs on Patreon, and we had the conversation that neither of us have actually seen that many Wes Anderson films.
Okay.
So I thought maybe the time is right to do our first Wes Anderson film on the podcast. So I've decided that next week we are going to do The Royal Tenenbaums.
Okay, I've not heard of it.
Well, there you go. Hopefully we'll be.
Is it good?
I enjoyed it. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Okay.
I need to refresh on it, but yeah, I think we haven't really done much Wes Anderson, so and he's one of those directors I think we should cover at some point. So let's start with The Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed
Grand Budapest.
one of the films he did.
Well, of the two you've seen, one you enjoyed, one you kind of meh. Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed it enough that I'm like, oh god, Wes Anderson's amazing. I love everything he does. And then I didn't quite love Isle of Dogs.
Which was the one you really loved?
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Ah, yes, I think that's his best.
Are you a fan of Wes Anderson generally?
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's an acquired taste, but I really enjoyed the Grand Budapest.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so yeah, we'll join us next week for The Royal Tenenbaums. And that's it. So thank you, James.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harry.
It's
always weird when I do that. It's only when there's guests.
You just caught me off guard completely. You're just like, oh, you're welcome.
Cool. So join us next week for The Royal Tenenbaums. Thanks a lot, guys.
Great. Thank you. Bye.